Hello everybody, today we are watching something that makes my blood boil. This is PDS News Clips. He is basically somebody that shows the news, oozing clips, and summarizes events. And this is about the armed militias that are hunting down FEMA workers because of Donald Trump's active lies. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Those are exactly what is happening.
This is insane. FEMA employees are apparently being threatened by an armed militia. And beyond that, they're being threatened by people who have fallen victim to the absolutely insane amount of misinformation we've seen around hurricanes Helene and Milton. Some of which, of course, we talked about last week, with the likes of Donald Trump being one of the biggest figures sharing these lies. With administration officials saying the misinformation around Helene has been unlike anything we've ever seen before. In fact, analysts at the Nonprofit Institute for Strategic Defense discovered that just 33 posts on X, and understand, there was way more than 33. 33 of those posts containing claims debunked by FEMA, the White House, and the US government had together generated more than 160 million views.
Lies
One of those false claims that
easy
we
to
should talk
tell
about
the
has to do
truth.
with a town in Rutherford County, North Carolina called Chimney Rock. You see, because there was a rumor going around on social media that government officials plan to take over the village and bulldoze bodies under the rubble. And even though the authorities and news outlets quickly debunked that claim, people still took to social media calling for militias to go after FEMA, which unfortunately brings us to this weekend when the agency reportedly advised all federal responders in Rutherford County to stand down and evacuate immediately, with their message saying that National Guard troops had, quote, come across 2 trucks of armed militia saying they were out hunting FEMA. Now, it is reportedly unclear right now how credible the armed militia danger is, but
This is ridiculous. I'm just gonna say it. The people spreading this information should be charged with causing something, because this has to be legal. Causing this much misinformation that quite literally causes more harm has to be illegal. Yes, under the First Amendment, but there is also a common sense part where you can't say fire in a crowded building. And well, this seems like a situation where I could see it could be classified as such. I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to just say that. But I could see a very good argument saying what Donald Trump and the people spreading this misinformation are doing is causing panic and causing people to die. And I'm not saying that hyperbole. People are dying because of what Donald Trump and his sycophants are saying. Anyway, let's continue.
there is no doubt that these federal responders who are trying to help victims of Hurricane Helene are not getting the welcome you would expect, with former FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate saying that individual FEMA personnel have received threats in the past, but on a much smaller scale, and added, in the field, it's rare. This is unprecedented. I know we've had individuals, but not an area or a group that's threatening FEMA. And in fact, this weekend we saw authorities in North Carolina arresting a man and charging him with going armed to the terror of the public. And this after he allegedly made a comment about harming FEMA employees while brandishing a handgun and a rifle. And so with all this, these threats, they can't be taken lightly, and FEMA is having to change the way it operates. For example, the agency is now reportedly operating at set locations and secured areas instead of going door to door like they usually do. And with that, when federal employees have showed up at people's doors with supplies or other offers to help, they've sometimes been greeted with yelling, or people outright saying, "We don't want your help here." And in one case, a resident actually showed up at a supplies distribution center and threatened FEMA personnel who were also stationed there. And regarding these types of stories, you had one former official with the Forest Service, which helps FEMA out sometimes, saying, "It's terrible because a lot of these folks who need assistance are refusing it because they believe the stuff people are saying about FEMA and the government. And it's sad because they are probably the ones who need the help the most." So understand, this is affecting the help everyone gets, not just them. But because of the threats this weekend, aid to several communities was temporarily paused. And officials have said previously that debunking all the misinformation has used up resources that could have been used more effectively in the recovery efforts. And then beyond that, one seriously alarming result of all this is that it's reportedly provided an opportunity for white supremacist groups to recruit new members, with the Wall Street Journal reporting on Friday Friday that white nationalist groups had joined recovery efforts in both Florida and in the Carolinas. With one of those groups even saying in a video on X, "We in Patriot Front are here to help out in the local communities. Our politicians can hem and haw and switch over quickly to their talking points about Israel, but we truly are supporting our communities and being America first." With many noting that this sort of thing is a common tactic. You create a problem and then fix it and claim that you're the only one doing it. But for now,
I just hope this election people get some common sense, but if we don't, well, we all know we're fucked. If Donald Trump even has he has a chance, but if Donald Trump wins, we're all screwed. That's not if, when, or but. We are all screwed if that inbred man steps one foot into the Oval Office again. I'm not saying that as hyperbole. I'm not saying that as just thing I've seen on the internet. That is what I believe. Because Donald Trump is a danger to the public, danger to the United States. He is as dangerous as Adolf Hitler was back in the 1930s and 40s. But no one will. No, people are just putting their heads in the dirt because they want to play fair. But when Donald Trump quite literally gets people to believe that FEMA, an organization there to help people, but quite literally having them be brainwashed by Donald Trump, and yes, it's brainwashing, to basically attack FEMA workers. Donald Trump should be in the deepest pits of a prison or hell. And that is what I believe.